What you guys doing? Banging the cat tree. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Hello. Hi, everyone. How are you? Oh, strap's all crooked. There we go. What you into today? I don't know. Not much. I didn't really prepare for this, to be honest. I've been kind of busy today. But, we can talk about pretty much anything within, the channel's description. Sorry. Thank you. I'm wearing my hat today, and I'm also wearing shorts, which is something I don't do very often. I'm wearing shorts. How the heck are you? Da, 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 da. I guess I'm doing good, yeah. I finished making a video, and that's going to be out tomorrow, and then I've got another one planned, so I'm going to be uploading a little bit more regularly, kind of on a schedule, certain new little things. I've been doing well health-wise, just enjoying the summer, going outside. I don't know if you can tell I have a bit of a tan. just a little bit. But I'm trying to get some sun, absorb some vitamin C and D. Whoops. But yeah, not much is up. So what unseen realms are we talking about? Well, one thing that I realized recently with some of the videos, I started with the elementals, the nature spirits, and then I moved on to some of the other. See, I thought really that these things were separate, you know? But if you listen to a lot of the stories where people think that they've encountered fairies, it just depends upon your perspective, like how you see these things, you know? I remember when my best friend and I were really young, and she had just moved over from England. So she was about 9 and I was 10. Uh, she obviously had a little thing for fairies, a bit, not a big thing, but I remember she had a childhood movie that was about two little girls that found fairies. It kind of reminded me of The Secret Garden. I think their father goes away for war and something or other. But it, like I said, it just depends upon what your experience with it is. So if you see like a glowing ball in a field, but all your experiences, say at 9 years old, is, oh, it must be a fairy, you know, a little girl from England or Ireland or something. And one of the things I connected it to is that these experiences with beings that are unseen, like dimensional beings. These are what the unseen realms are. Things that we cannot see with our eyes because of the light spectrum differences or dimensional changes. Now, again, I'm not an expert at this. I'm learning and trying my best every time that I sit down and talk with you like this. And, you know, so it's just basically stuff like that, like from aliens, fairies, cryptids, dimensional beings, hi calmly, Bigfoot, and like Sasquatch, or however you want to call him. Sasquatch is probably more appropriate. Like Bigfoot's kind of insulting. But you know, these things that people say they have encounters with, like I said with that video I made, it only takes one person. Only one person. So you could have 100 people lie and say that they saw a gray alien in their bedroom. But that 101 person, okay, 101, just that one is telling the truth. And they say, hey, I saw a little gray alien in my room. So they're telling the truth. So then we have to think, well, what was that then? You see? And it's strange because everything seems to be coming around full circle again. And I think now, because I used to remember more about those things, like fairies, gnomes, and shit like that, because I mean, I think a lot of little girls, even little boys, will have interest in these things, elves, gnomes, and stuff. But there is historical folklore that goes back, you know, and I read it in depth. Like there is, of course, like, you know, how we say with Santa Claus, if you're not good, Santa's not going to bring you gifts. You know what I mean with that? So there is tales that people would tell to protect people, you know, like that they would tell little girls, you know, about dark forest or whatever. But that was really just to protect people from some creep from 2 towns over. So, but there is these events, you know, like I was talking about in my last video, where like with Travis Walton, we can connect this with aliens now right away, is that he disappeared for 5 days, but only remembers being gone for maybe an hour and a half. And every story that I've listened to over the past couple of days has to do with missing time, where hours will go by, where what was it about? Well, I mean, people will be gone for a few days and then be returned. That's with Mystic 411. And that happens a lot, where they're gone for a few days. And I mean, there's no explainable cause. Like the body will just be there on the path, you know, and then they won't be able to explain why they have passed away. So there could be who knows the reason? I would think that a lot of people just die of fright. Like you just get so overwhelmed, especially a person that would have no experience about that, or have, that's not their life at all. I'm sure you could just die of shock, like your heart would give out from, or have a stroke or something just from this life-changing experience. It can be traumatic. But these stories have gone back a long, long time, and I think we just identify it now, and well, there may be a reason why, because they are alien to us, these beings. We forgot about it. We were told that those things don't exist. The monster in the closet isn't there, but sometimes there is something there, even as an adult. The dimensional beings hide in the fucking closet. Yeah. I learned about this when I was learning about reptilians and stuff like that. And it was James Bartley who put that together, where these beings beam into your closet because it's somewhere where no one's going to be. They also hang out in the bathroom, and they say that about the Jinn. So anytime you hear somebody say that they've saw a ghost, most people, when you hear, oh, I saw a ghost, well, they think of like some Victoria era lady. Ooh, you know what I mean? But there's such a wider range of it, and I think this is why most religions just deter people away from it. Like Christianity has deemed it, the entirety of it, demonic, and what we have is cases where you'll see people go missing in places like Devil's Pass, Devil's Peak, Devil's Devil's Ridge, whatever, Devil's Lake. And I think this indicates that it has a above normal, maybe a portal somewhere, maybe the veil is the thinner in these places, but for whatever reason, whether it be maybe a natural energetic portal there, who knows, but where the unseen realm, the material and the non-material worlds kind of bleed into each other. And this is where you'll have more of paranormal activity, kind of like a Bermuda Triangle, but in the woods on the ground, okay? Where you'll find that compasses, your magnet, it won't be able to find magnetic north because the magnetism of the area is changed. A lot of people are experiencing, just like I did the night I saw the being of unknown origin in my room. A lot of people are experiencing the hair on their body stand up. And one of the things when I first started telling my story, and I kind of got annoyed with people, you know how I am if you've known me for a bit of time, because I was so dead set that it was an alien, right, that I saw. But they said, oh, it sounds like you saw a ghost, kind of implying like that it wasn't real. And I was sensitive about it. But now I understand, because it is more in the dimensional realm. Like, after I had stood there in shock, seeing the being, feeling and thinking, and couldn't do anything except look at it and feel with throughout my whole being, holy shit. But initially, I felt all the hair, like from the top of my head to the tip of my toes, like everywhere, even the tiny little baby hairs. It's like all the sensitivity, to the electromagnetic change. There was even like a slight color change, but it was so quick, almost like the molecules had all changed over just for a moment, and it gave off like this purple pinkish glow, but just for a moment, like a thin veil, almost like a haze, like boom, and I felt lighter, but the space around me felt more dense, as in heavier, but not in a negative way. Almost like the air had more in it, like the Dead Sea has more salt and you're more buoyant. Well, now the space in my bedroom didn't just have one regular layer, it had two. When I had just thought, oh, I'll just go back to sleep, and I was laying down, the being, as I was laying down, it just stepped to the side and disappeared. It didn't beam out. It didn't hop into a portal. It literally just took a step, and it was like stepping, it went sideways though, and stepping behind an invisible curtain that I couldn't see. And I always thought that was bizarre. Like, what kind of alien would need to do that, you know? So, but I didn't know anything else at that point because, you know, you think gnomes, fairies, leprechauns, and stuff, these are childhood fantasy stuff, at least for me. And I didn't understand during the whole starseed experience that you would find people that were having these experiences and calling them fairies or gnomes or mermaids or whatever. And a lot of the time, these people were pushed aside and ignored because it wasn't a recognized alien race, like a reptilian or a friggin' Andromedan or a Lyran or whatever. And so these stories would go mostly unheard with these people that had experiences. Now, sorry, I'm so sorry. I was trying to focus. Let me just catch up here. Hi, Tennessee Outlaw. Hi, Calmly. I remember greeting you before, but I'll do it again. Hey, Mew. I'm glad to see you guys all here. You have a portal behind you. No, I don't. Magnetized. Yeah. I have come to learn that everything is energy, so then I wonder just how many forms that energy can take. Yeah, also with the light spectrum. What is in between the spectrum we can't see? Yeah, and the spaces in between spaces. So it's almost like I explained with the elementals. You might see a UFO landing inside of a volcano. But as they do so, they may shift dimensions, and inside the volcano may be something totally different than what we would see if we looked into it. It's possible like that. Or at the inside of mountains. We might look into a giant cavern inside a mountain and it'd be empty. But in another dimension, it could be full. And this is what they're talking about with inner earth and underground. You see what I'm saying? That could make sense. Yeah. I talked about last time with different types of tempered glass. I'm pretty sure it's tempered glass. With different colors, you might be able to see into different spectrums, but I'm not sure. Only because of those nightmare glasses we talked about last time, which were in World War II. Now, some people will debate you and say, oh, it was the chemicals making them hallucinate. But it's curious that in the red level that they saw some really scary ass flying creatures, because that's what would be there at that level in the spectrum. Red would be, I believe, 1. So if we're going from 1 to 7, right? And this is just how I see it right now. So 1 would be the red color according to the chakras. I just don't have my book right now. But yeah, so that would be the root chakra. And so we would have these beings based off of survival. And that's just why I have a hunch upon that. Not saying it's 100% true. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but you know, from what I've learned and the things that I've read and the experiences that I've heard people have, you know, like I was saying with that one person, the likelihood of every single person, just like me, like I know that happened for me, but for other people that weren't there, of course you weren't there because I was the only one there, but that this hasn't happened to, right? They're not going to be able to believe it. I mean, it would be the same if someone said they saw an angel, right? It just depends upon need, right? I think that what you're going to experience is what you need. And I didn't need that. As bizarre as it sounded, and even though I didn't know what I needed, and that's why they're the spiritual hierarchy, some of these beings, and they do know what you need because it's almost like a spiritual counseling or a encouragement. Not sure, but that's what kind of the people in the blue suits do. Hi, Shelley. Good to see you. Hi, Scott. Well, to get stuck in between spaces or dimensions, I mean, it depends on where you're at, right? And like, it depends on who it would be. Like I was talking about with the portals in the woods, there's been people that have just been walking and notice after they've walked through a certain place, maybe the hair will stand up their body, they'll get the willies a little bit, and then they'll realize, holy crap, the area is a bit different where once was a marsh and they know that there was a marsh. Now there's a beautiful field of flowers. Yeah. And guess what else? There's also fairy romancers. So, just like we heard in Legends with the mermaid on the rock, la 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 la, oh hey sailor, and shit like that. Stuff like this. A beautiful lady will be in the woods and lure a man, or either a man if it's a fairy man or woman, whatever. And you know what? There's stories where they like try to eat your liver. This is yeah. So it's not all like Tinkerbell and everything, but this is where I'm saying it. It kind of it's all the same thing, and they can shapeshift. So they can change into whatever they think that you'll adapt most to, right? So maybe that's why they choose this figure. It's possible, right? Because there's certain beings that nobody's ever seen other than the person who's seen them. Also, I was thinking that there's probably so many more beings that have come and gone, lived and died, in not just this realm, but all of them, right? And so imagine all of the spirits within the spirit realm. There's probably just as many as there are insects, birds, animals, and all of that. So I suppose, other than the, to control and, keep people dumbed down and where, you know, organized religions wanted them to be, like I was saying, this is how they keep you in the prison planet, you know, or the reincarnation system where you just keep repeating because they're not allowing you to access what you need to move on. Eventually, though, some people do break out of it. Well, that's what I mean. The Hindu gods are blue and it represents the spiritual. So there's red and blue. The red is the material world, and blue is the non material spiritual worlds. So this is why Elena Denon warns people of the red lights, but encourages the blue because her ships have blue lights, right? So that's the safe ones to her. Even though the ship I saw had red. But the Hindu gods were painted blue to represent the spirit. Shiva was not a person, like an actual person. That's an energy consciousness, and there's a lot of symbolism involved in that. So, you know, um, it's kind of the same thing though. These higher dimensional beings sometimes coming down to a lower. But that being said, like I mentioned with the fairy romancers and stuff like that, I found a new lady's channel that I've been enjoying, and she shares her subscribers' stories about these strange encounters. You'll also hear about people getting lost in the woods, and I know it's easy to get lost, but like people that have done the same trails over and over, but they keep going around in a circle, not sure how that's happening. It's kind of like this show that I saw. What was that called? From, where they kind of have that tree and then everybody gets stuck in that little place that they can't get out of dimensionally. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like that. And these places, there may be maybe even a deal with these elemental nature beings or whoever. I know it sounds weird, but that's why you see, maybe Bigfoot, Sasquatch and things like this. And because these are zones. Maybe they're put there for a reason, not just because of their geological features, whether it's a big waterfall or whatever, but there could be another reason. There could be like a treaty, right? Where, okay, well, we'll leave these protected lands, not just for animals, they'll tell us that. That person just sits out there sometimes and just blasts their music. So, hey, Ellie goes, how are you? I am doing good. Yeah, Bigfoot. Why do I keep doing that? Sasquatch are forest guardians. Yeah. And so, they might even be protectors of, like, to keep people away from entering in to these spaces. Who knows? I remember years ago when I was growing up, I read a comic book, and it was by Tomb Raider, and Lara Croft was looking for Shangri-La. And she ends up going through the Himalayan mountains and then through an ice wall. Yeah, a wall of ice she smashes through. It's just kind of symbolic. And then um, she reaches Shangri-La, but right before she encounters the Yeti, which are also guardians of the mountain. And so it may be, and they protect the entrance of Shambhala. If you actually make it there, well, then you face those. So, and she actually doesn't make it past them. Yeah. And they scratch her, and it's a curse, almost like a werewolf kind of thing. And she starts turning into one. But there's a lady there, and she's explaining to Laura, like, you shouldn't have come here. And she starts screaming about why she came. It isn't for her, it's for someone who was close to her, closer than like her mom, because her mom passed away at a very young age. Then she lost her dad, and now this lady's very old and sick, and so she just wanted to bring her here for healing and for her to give her, more time and a better life or whatever. Anyway, they ended up accepting, and they took the curse off of her and whatever. It's a pretty cool episode of the series. I missed my comic books. Could have showed you if you still had it. Oh, right. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, Americans. I didn't even wish my fellow Canadians a happy Canada Day. Ooh. But, Chewbaccans. Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, why not? We could give them an official name. Maybe they'd like it. Chewbacca. It's better than Bigfoot. But the indigenous peoples have known about them for a long time. They have stories about the little people. That's also the forest spirits, gnomes, and all that kind of stuff. And the ant peoples are beings that live underground. And ants have big black eyes, just like the little grays. So I was thinking maybe the grays are some kind of gnome, you know? I don't know. But these, maybe, we've been identifying this for a long time. The events are so similar. Like, it even says that they will try to mate with humans, or they'll also switch babies at birth. And I know there was a legend or a thing they did to kind of explain away, for example, Down syndrome. That you'd say, oh, the fairies switched my baby. That's from over in Europe and things like that, in like England and Ireland and places like that. But they do that. It's called a changeling. And it's strange because it sounds a lot like a starseed, because they don't really know what they are when they're young, but they know they're different. but then they grow up to discover their mission later on in life, like a starseed type of mission thing. So it's all very, very similar. What were the other things? You just wrote an essay that I woke up in the lonely woods. Good. That's cool. I woke up in the lonely woods. It sounds very, very deep. Hello, Midnight Headlights. Welcome. Well, everybody looks at you funny when you got a black eye when you're young. But you got hit with a baseball, so, you know, you should have said, I got in a fight. Oh, you were in kindergarten. Never mind. Should have still. Kindergarten, though. I remember. Want to know what I did in kindergarten? One time, because I grew too quick for my bladder, and I remember straight up having like a pee attack where I just had to go. I couldn't hold it. And so I sat on the floor, I pissed on the carpet, and then I put a cardboard box over it, and I just left. Not terrible. I was too ashamed. I remember I was wearing a pink dress with McDonald's suspenders, and they had like, but not Ronald McDonald. They had like another character from McDonald's and like the little M. Yeah, I know. It was like the early 90s, I think. Yeah. So I pissed on the floor in kindergarten. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'll just put this over here and I'll just pretend like that didn't happen and left. It was too embarrassing. It hurt too. It happened for a while. I just grew too quick. And then eventually it caught up. Yeah, so where was I? Uh oh, yeah, so about mating with the humans, the changelings, the Starseed mission thing. Oh, and then it talks about, and I've seen a few movies about this. One recently was with Dakota Fanning, and it was called The Watchers. And they get stuck in a space they cannot leave, just like what I was talking about. But these fairies were locked away underground by humans a really long time ago. They used to live all in like harmony. Here's Marv. They used to live all together. And then in this movie with Dakota Fanning called The Watchers, they are put underneath, like underground, and this stone sigil thing holds them there underground. And every night they come out to watch the humans inside like this little box type of house. Like it's, I mean, it's concrete or whatever, but then it has like a two-way mirror. So all they see is a mirror, but the beings on the outside can see in. It's by M. Night Shyamalan, so like it's kind of a scary movie, but this is the kind of thing like you try to escape and you can't find your way out. This space will move around because it's dimensional, right? Like the astral, or not astral, but the spiritual realms, when you're in there, it will change according to your thoughts and feelings. So whoever created the space, I'm sure, could do the old switch around while you're moving through it, or it just could be designed that way, almost like a never-ending labyrinth that moves, so you could never find the exit. But yeah, they watch these people every night, like they're studying humans. Anyway, so if you want to watch that, it's pretty good. Again, it's a horror film, but the last parts of my research was that, like what I was reading about, um, was that, see, there used to be an older race, just like in how Lord of the Rings explains how the elves leave and go to the west or whatever. Remember, they go on the ship and then they leave, and then humans are now, you know, top dog, right? It's kind of like this. So, but I'm not sure if. No, I think it would be that the elder race would clearly know their time was done, whether just the cycle was ended or whatever, and moving on. Um, but it's all very similar. That they said that they can't win a war against humans to become the dominant race again unless they have like human helpers, because they can't use iron or something like that. Just trying to go over everything that I can remember that I was reading. But then that also kind of lines up with how I remember it could have even been a tabloid like our article. It doesn't even matter, but it was like the government's worried that the aliens are creating a secret human army to fight against them. And this would be like starseeds and different people with alien contacts and stuff like this, yeah? Also, it said in there that the Fae can't lie, but they can get human beings to lie for them. And so that would make sense that, they're saying, oh, I'm an alien from this and that, blah, 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 right? Like they like to mess around this way. One of the first things I learned about the spirit realm is that it's tricky. It's tricky. Okay, so for the most part, most beings of the unseen realm don't mean us any harm, Shelley. But there are a lot of beings that do, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. They say if you step into the fairy realm to eat the food, because if you eat the food, you're trapped there. And this is something it matches up with other cultures too, and their historical folklore legends that may have something to it, right? If it repeats, you pay attention. So you see that. Remember in Pan's Labyrinth, wasn't it? With the guy with the eyes, remember that? And there's all that food, and they were like, don't eat the food, not even a grape, or you'll wake up the thing. Remember that? It's kind of like that, right? Don't eat the food. Yeah. And in that story, there was a girl that found this handsome gentleman in the woods, and he had this beautiful picnic laid out. But she knew about fairies because she grew up in the area. And so she was polite, and she complimented, said, oh, look, it looks very lovely, but she didn't eat anything. And it just so happened that either her grandfather, her uncle comes by and sees what's going on and realizes and literally says, come on, so and so, and looks at the being and goes, you're not eating her liver today, and leaves, So if you look at some of these things, this is why some of these people that disappear do die. A lot of the time, I was reading at one time, fairies were known to drink human blood and be really fucking evil. So this is why there's a huge caution with this, because this is why they warn you, because it can get very dangerous. I mean, they're not technically aliens, though. They're only alien as in they're foreign to us. But this is the thing, there's been things said that I just don't believe anymore. And it's because the people that have been peddling it, spitting it out for so many years, they seem less and less and less and less credible. So you have to realize that there may be another agenda, which I'm sure there is a reason for the deception of it. But yeah, as far as like these beings coming from other planets, I don't know. But dimensionally, it would make sense for them to be popping in and out of where they are. This is why a lot of them say that we live here, or we lived here at one time on the surface, but then they had to hide. You'll see that in movies too, where even in, remember Lady in the Water, where that legend where the mermaids used to live by the shore and communicate with the humans, but then they got into a war and they were pushed further and further and further away from humanity until we forgot them. Do you remember that? It's the same story told over and over and over again. You'll see that one too, where there was wars between the beings of the unseen realm and the human world. I think it was because, like I was saying, at one time, our world, the non-physical and these spiritual worlds, may have been together. And these spirits, and yes, sirens are the same things as like mermaids and undines. There were these water elementals, and they might look different slightly, but if you ever see something in the water that you think's a mermaid that has hair or whatever, that's definitely something that's shape-shifted. Hair is not logical for water or aqua dynamics. This is why speed swimmers shave their entire body from head to toe. It's because you'll go quicker through the water. So you're not going to have any type of siren or mermaid with hair. They're probably going to be scary as shit, in the video that's the hour-long one with the portal, the purple little portal on the front, you can see what I feel like what the mermaid would look like. And it would have some type of weaponry, like the sirens from the show Siren, where they've got the spike on the tail, claws, teeth. But again, those ones have hair. That's Hollywoodized, right? To make them look pretty and whatnot. Yeah. No, that would make no sense. That would drag. It would be so dangerous. They would get caught on everything. No, they would not have hair. If they ever appeared that way, they could appear to have hair in the dark using seaweed. They are very clever. They make their own tools and stuff like this. And this is way before mermaids a body found. Fishermen have been finding like caveman-like spears that have been made underwater. It's totally bizarre. Made out of like hard shark cartilage and things like this, curved that way, and then it's stuck in the side, of like a fish, a giant fish, a big fish, or a shark or whatever. It's totally weird. Like, who the fuck put that there? It seems that even if they do cross into our world, a lot of the times it can be curiosity. Like I brought up Travis Walton. Like, he was gone and they didn't hurt him. They healed him and they brought him back. And there's a lot of cases where people are returned and they just either don't remember or they are unable because they have like a developmental disorder, whether they're young and they have autism and they're nonverbal or whichever it is, and they're just not able to communicate it. There's a high level of curiosity, though, almost like we would be with an alien, like, what are you? And I think that's what it is. A lot of the times when I would interact with these beings, spiritually, like in my mind's eye, with the third eye, this is an intuitive thing. It's not like I'm seeing beings flying around everywhere. Let's just be clear. And I'm not hearing voices or anything. It's something more felt than anything. Like I said, energetic text message. You have different environmental indicators, like your hair will stand up. Sometimes this space, you'll feel a small space that'll feel warmer where you'll get the tinglies. Sometimes it's like that. Or some people will feel cold spots, which indicates you might have something, you know, well, negative-ish. Most likely probably something parasitic, but not always. That's why it's like, this is why we needed the shamans and spiritual peoples, because it's almost like a spiritual doctor in a sense, and depending on how much experience and knowledge you have. And I think it's really important to have, experience with these things. You don't need to have tons and tons, but I mean, I wouldn't say that I've got a PhD at this, but I am working towards my PhD. Let's put it that way. Well, there's a bunch of different legends, like La Llorona. That isn't the first water being that does that. They may have had a certain person who turned into that kind of an entity. It would be water, so that would be emotion. That's why, she's screaming and crying. Again, it depends on how they've come to be in this state, right? If you've died in a lower dimensional state, it's complicated. But I do know of, I've seen that character too, within entities and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever heard a story involved with a screaming banshee, but I do remember it from the Haunted Mansion. Yeah. Yes. Loop. Oh, you're married to what? Oh, a screaming banshee. Oh my God, Tennessee Outlaw. You're funny. There's more than bears and deer in the woods. Yeah. Yeah. But it's not all sinister. I think that if you have a negative outlook, you're going to get negativity back. It's just that if you don't warn people significantly, right? Like, that's what I was saying about Bigfoot. Forget it. Whatever. Sasquatch. If they tell everybody it's real, everyone's going to go looking for it. It puts the being itself in danger and human beings in danger. It's just not good all around. We're just not, I mean, we're getting there. I think we're getting there. And I think this is why, that's what ascension is. More and more stuff is being opened up to us, even as it's painfully slow. Oh, maddeningly slow. Is that a word? Maddeningly? But whatever, you know what I mean? It drives you fucking crazy. So, and the witching hour. So you'll have that time. And I think that's because it's the in between, like the middle of the night. It's not quite dawn. It's not dusk anymore. It's the in between of the night. And these beings are coming from spaces in between spaces, it says. So, and it's like it's right alongside of us. And I don't know, maybe they all are moving like how the friggin' planets, say, move around the sun. Maybe that's how all of these realms move around us. I don't know. I was just watching the clip when they first start up the Stargate in the movie. I believe it is. I can't actually figure out if it's the show or the movie. It says it's the movie, but I don't remember, so I'm going to have to watch the movie again. But when they start that up, I mean, it has a point that's like the farthest reaches outside of our galaxy that they've never even that's where it reaches. So it's something, it's fascinating, and it's so cool to think about. I don't know. Like I said, I want to learn more, to have more precaution, because I have been at certain points where I probably would have just ran out and got in whatever ship showed up. And I don't think that's a good idea. And I think, it was mostly based on my desperation to escape out of here, you know what I mean? But you got to be smart about things, and I am trying my best, you know? Yeah. So this is why I'm trying to read up on it as much. And I mean, this isn't going to be for everyone. If they choose it not to be for them, then so be it. Like the Muslims, they don't want anything to do with it. Like they do know about the jinn, which are what they call beings all of the unseen realm. It's just not one evil type of entity. Even they'll tell you the jinn will have families, they have hobbies, they have likes and dislikes. There's a bunch of them, a bunch of different kinds. They have a different, spiritual order, which is like spiritual hierarchy. It's just translated differently. So what one person would call a fairy, another person would say, oh my gosh, I run into a beautiful blonde haired, blue eyed Palladian man, and he told me that we're going to run away to Venus together. And he's going to show me his, you know. You know what I'm saying? Because it usually ends up being quite dirty, and then they have some extraterrestrial husband or something. So you'll see like these similarities, and it's not just the women, it's the men too, you know? I don't know. Yeah. And there's stories like this, so it just depends on what that person knows. Because I mean, they don't tell you. I mean, the Asura told me it was an Asura, but it didn't give me any other details other than that. An Asura just means a lower dimensional entity, but the elementals are also technically lower dimensionals. You'll see that in that movie Green Snake. It's a animation about a young lady and her sister. I don't think they're twins, but they're very similar in age. That's her older. Maybe she's a couple years older, the older sister. And one of them is in white and the other one is in black. And the white snake ends up falling in love with a human man. Something happens to her where she gets shot off into another dimension to pay for her karma somewhere else, because technically she was a fallen angel. She fell in love with a human. She left her realm and went to go and be with him or whatever. And so it's kind of a continuation on that. But the green snake girl ends up going to Asuraville. I just put this on one night for dinner, and it's almost like I have no idea how that works. It's bizarre. I don't believe in coincidences at all. It's happened multiple times. Like when I need an answer for something, or when I'm trying to figure out how something works, and it's like the universe brings me a visual example through movies. So it's pretty interesting. And I realized that they're teaching us, like I said, if you are good at Pokemon games, you're going to be pretty good at dealing with elemental magics and stuff like this. And you may say, oh, well, that isn't for me. Well, you might have to deal with that when you turn into a spirit. So at least you'll remember it in that way. And I guess even for me, it makes it easier so that I'm less worried about everybody else. Like, oh my God, they're not going to know what to do. But they will, just like I realized, kind of like Pokemon. I mean, I can't be the only one that saw that. Or they will have another example to follow with that. You know what I mean? Thanks, Shelley. Well, yeah, and I mean that's the thing, though, right? That's the whole appeal. I have to fix my my legs. I can't sit like that; it crushes my legs. So what was I saying? About aliens, and like, yeah, for me personally, my experience was so terrible, that I should just check my groceries. Hold on. Okay, good. I have time. Look up the book. Remember, the book was banned. It's a Muslim occult memoir. Yeah, there. Of course, there is. like almost like Kabbalah. I'm sure that there would be a group within that which would deal with it more. I think there's it's kind of like Muslim, like they even say assalamu alaikum and stuff like this, but it's a different Sufi. See, anyway, they deal more with the unseen realm. They're more willing to talk about it. I have some videos by a fellow who I've listened to his channel. He's taught me a lot about, in his perspective with the jinn and the unseen realm and the dangers it pertains, and how, it's not all evil, but it's just that most people, that's why he says you should leave it to, your church leaders and stuff like this, because a lot of people don't have enough knowledge, experience to deal with it. And you can get sick, there's different things that could happen. So I think they just discourage it, to protect everybody involved. And I think in a way that may be why the government doesn't involve all of us, because it's not like we've ever had cases where like the werewolves are breaking into people's houses and shit in the city. But even still, if there was something like that existed, which I'm pretty sure there's different types of cryptids. I only saw something that I'm pretty sure was for real once, and it was this fella sitting in his black. He's black actually. Sorry, he's this black fella, and he's out the back having a smoke. And I'll never forget how fucking funny he was about the whole thing, because he just wasn't having any of it. And he's like, "I'm only opening the store." He's like, "I'm going to record it," and then he's like, "Nope," and he shuts it afterwards. And it's a half there. It's a dimensional being, like a ghost. It's not CGI. You have to really keep your eyes on it as it moves at the back of the tree line. And if there's ever been a werewolf sighting video that I've seen that I believed, it's that one. But that's probably the only one that I've ever seen. And it makes sense that they could move in and out. I'm not sure how it would work. Maybe they can use the energy of a full moon, and that's why we would see them on a full moon. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. See, lycanthropy, that's werewolves, is puzzling to me, because the only, it would be so fucking painful. Your bones would break. Like, you ever see those types of transformations? It would be like that. It would have to be. Your body would move. I don't even know. I've heard a few stories about that, though, where you get to a certain level of this. Of course, these are darker magics, and they may be mixing with the entity itself. Is that how the reptilian thing happens? I don't know. I don't know. What's a Wendigo? This is with indigenous peoples. It's almost something like a werewolf. I believe it started as a person at one time, but over time it changed. Here, let me see the definition. That was one of the first episodes. Yeah, it's from Algonquin indigenous folklore, often depicted as a malevolent spirit or a cannibalistic monster with an insatiable hunger for human flesh. Same as the werewolf, is typically associated with cold climates like Canada, and is described as emaciated, sometimes growing larger as it consumes more victims. Uh, I would assume the Wendigo would maybe be kind of region Canada, even the United States, so North America, yeah. Um, the Wendigo sounds a lot similar to the Nightcrawler, or what's known as the Pale Stalker. Some people will call that a skinwalker, but I don't think that's what that is. Um, but yeah, if you don't know what the Pale Crawler is, sometimes people think there's two different stories. There's like a creepy pasta version. That's not it. Um, these have like it's almost like Slender Man as well. These are similar, but they don't wear a suit. That's the thing. If they are dimensional and they could shapeshift, though, then they can make themselves look like whatever. But it's faceless, usually white, long arms, claws. I've drawn one before, actually. Here, just a second. And again, these will come in and out of the dimension, right? Like they don't always live here. Sometimes I thought maybe they come from underground. If they did, they could hide there. But yeah, they have like milky, whitey skin. And they've been seen in Canada. Second here. Here it is. Something like that. See how skinny he is? Bony looking arms, claws and shit. And they live in the woods. Yeah. But it kind of looks like a gray alien, doesn't it? Looks like a gray alien with teeth. And so they kind of look like that. Well, the thing about it is those particular beings, I don't call them skinwalkers, but I've known those only as guardians, and I only met them, well, once for sure. But they're just some type of guardian of certain places. And I guess, a lot of the times if you don't have bad intentions, and because they can read your mind and all of that shit with telepathy, and you either die or you pass. And that's the thing, a lot of these arrogant people that go out into the woods hunting and stuff like that too. I mean, it might just be a bit of a, oh yeah, well, fuck you then, and we'll, fuck you up. And these spirits can be, quite vengeful sometimes. And that's all throughout history. Sorry, I'm just going to check on Marvin. Marvin. Okay, there's Marvin. I'm hungry. Afraid. Oh, gosh. Freezing. Oh. How do you like my cool shorts? I haven't really been a fan of shorts, but just decided to start to wear them. Never liked shorts my whole life. Before I forget, walk back to the kitchen and forget. It's not all bad, you know. There have been cases where like people get healed in the spiritual realms, right? You got to remember that a lot of the stuff I was doing, one, I don't remember, but two, my job seemed to be taking care of, like, not in like a caretaker like a nanny, but taking care of us in either sending them back where they came or displacing them completely. Yeah. um, Certain entities, I was kind of like in a group of people, and it was spiritual, of course. This is when, like, for instance, the one story in my book that I read in my live about my book, I'm going to get to that. Um, but it was where we circled around that lady with the long black hair and the white dress, and I realized that is a water elemental nature spirit. And sometimes, like La Llorona, they will attach themselves to people. I've seen, it's so weird too, like, and it's not just once. Like, sometimes the video has to slow right down because it's just a millisecond. You'll be like, what? There was nothing there on the Nuke's Top 5 video, right? But then he slows down, he goes, did you see it? And I'm like, no. And then he slows down, and in the mirror, you see a face like that with the black hair. She's looking down, and it's not fake. You know, like, people can still say that, but the same entity shows up over and over and over. It won't be the exact same look or whatever. Once I seen one pop its head from around a corner in like an old like abandoned hospital. Oh my god. People do catch haunted shit. Like, these paranormal people, they're not all fake. And sometimes, holy crap, they run into some stuff. It's scary. There's one where they thought they heard a gunshot and they call the police. The police go in. The guys were so scared initially, they dropped a camera. And you see the police go down the stairs. They're chit chatting to each other. Oh yeah, probably just a squatter or something like that. Blah blah blah. And then you hear them, hello, hello, oh, and then they, like, something happens and they run and they leave and they're like, we're not going back in there. And he comes out, he goes, there's somebody in there, but it's somebody we cannot see. And he's like, I'm not going back in. So you guys should just go home. Yeah. So there is these things that happen. It's not just people's imaginations. It's like it bleeds over into our reality. Whether, I mean, in hospitals, there's a lot of pain and, stuff like that happens there. There's some predators in the negative sense that will go after babies, the life force of children, things like that. But again, not always going to the negative stuff. What I worry about is, I don't want people to have the experience that I did for a little bit there, because with people's influence, I started thinking everything was demonic, and it will turn that way and it will start to scare the shit out of you. Yeah, because it will give you back what you're projecting out as your reality. Well, I'm protecting them too, you know. Shelley says, Scott, I will always protect aliens because I've had an incredible experience. I cannot say, but will acknowledge the feeling. I know. And it's not all bad. It's not. But there's a high level of caution. to be given, because what I forgot to mention is that any being that comes from a dimension that is higher, like, that's what a fallen angel is. And you hear that with those legends, and that they came down to mate with human women. I don't think that there were just 200 of them. There may have been more. So, but I said, I can't say for sure, but I feel like at one time the spirit realm was with us. And then it's almost like how it says in the Bible, interpreted there, where God was with us and then it was removed, and these things were separated. But maybe at one time it was together. Even with the elites, what they're doing right now, I said this before, they're putting as much pressure to exhaust people. But it's also so that it pushes them to do things they wouldn't normally do. Like, think of someone who has a family to support. Say it's a woman and she's a single mother and she's been working really hard and she just can't make ends meet. So she starts to consider selling naked pictures of herself, even feet pics. But then that isn't enough income because things go up even more. So then, it's the temptation to do, like, what's this called? Like, if we're doing the Knights of the Old Republic to the Jedi light side, and then the Sith to the dark side, you're doing dark sides type of stuff that kind of leads you into what the Bible would say damnation, right? Bringing you into the lower dimensions. So it's just interpreted differently. Like, guess what? The Sith is a name for dark entities from the spirit realm. And I think it comes from when I was looking into the Little People legends. Hammerson Peters, he's got, I think that's his name. He's got a fantastic little channel, not little at all, but I mean, like, his voice is so gentle, so he just seems like, he's got this nice channel where he tells stories. His voice is gentle and you can listen to him, and he talks about this stuff, and very well done, really well researched and well done. Much better speaker than me. I'd probably do a lot better if I wasn't smoking weed or whatever, but yeah. Greetings from Singapore. Sorry, Luke Skywalker. I kept wanting to say Luke. Yeah, and passing away in a foreign land when you're young, you don't know much about the spirit realm, so you end up there. You could very well become a ghost that way. You die in a traumatic way in the war. I think all war is terrible anyway. It's just totally senseless and awful. No one wins. I feel like if these leaders want to fight, go fight each other in the boxing ring. You know what I mean? You want to have a fight? Go fight each other in the boxing ring. Punch each other's lights out. Solve it that way and leave the rest of us alone, because it doesn't make any sense. You shoot a missile over at somebody, you're not hitting the person. You're destroying innocent people, their buildings, their land, everything. What did they do? It's the people that suffer. So just let the two leaders fight. Like, for instance, if Canada and the US had a problem, honest to God, I don't even know who our new prime minister is, and I don't even care. So we'll just say it was Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump. If they have a problem, let them fight. Put your boxing gloves on and go fight. But don't start stupid wars. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, that's my rant about that. I do. I feel like that. I do. Go fight each other. like Celebrity Deathmatch. Remember that from MTV? Do you remember that? Like that. Go on. I'm sure people will pay to watch that on TV. You know, all the money could go right to the freaking government. Go ahead, duke it out. Leave the rest of us alone. And that's what I mean, you know? They get people all upset and then they want to, it's almost like they want to, what's that word? Coerce them, like convince them to be like, yeah, let's go to war. This has happened before. Stress everybody out, make them lie, or make them upset with lies about propaganda and all this stuff. And they're just exhausting everybody with nonsense. Anyway, well, the thing about it is, though, sometimes certain people's perspective, the snake can represent deception. You know, sneaky like a snake. But on the other hand, the snake also represents wisdom, intelligence. Also, what's that? To change, kind of like the rebirth of the phoenix. The snake will shed its skin and then, almost like being reborn anew. Um, but that's what the Kali Yuga is. It's deception, the age of deception, and I guess just the beginning of the end of it was like 2012. I don't know. But if you'd like to look at it like I'm choosing to in a positive way, let's hope that the snake is in intelligence, wisdom. You know what I mean? That part of it. Like that's why in the Bible it says be wise as serpents. That's why it says about the snake on the cross and those who gaze upon it shall live in a pit of snakes, poisonous snakes. You see what I'm saying? There's reasons why these things were symbolically left in there. Because if you're smart enough, then you'll have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, and you won't be a person that can be deceived. You know? Mm-hmm. That's what Jesus was trying to teach people. Well, even just the character of, or the Christ consciousness itself, that essence, because we don't know. His name couldn't have been Jesus. I do believe that there was a person like this, or many individuals over the ages, kind of like the Avatar, that one person chosen. And I know there's some people that won't agree because that is their chosen avatar for them. I understand this. But I also know about how these people with their symbolism and Kabbalah works, and I can't deny that is the story of his life matches up with the Claustrum's oil travel from the crown to the base of the spinal cord. The 3 days of darkness represents the 3 days Jesus was in the tomb. The oil stays in the sacrum bone for 3 days and then rises. So that's the Christ rising after 3 days in the tomb. Yeah. Well, yeah, and what was Moses but a wise man? He was very, very wise, and that's why he was a leader of people. Not only wise in mind, but in heart. And that is one being one with God. Mm-hmm. That when they say they walked with God hand in hand, that's what this means. Because the Christ is your connection. to the divine creator, and I believe that that's what, the teachings and the writings of Jesus and the things that he says, like, if you're thirsty, come and drink of me, then you'll thirst no more. These things can be interpreted differently, but it's incredible because it's the Christ is the living waters. This the claustrum oil rather is the living water. It's Christos, really. That's what it's always been known as throughout history and throughout the ages. So yeah, and so people will use it and scam us and say, oh, there's going to be 3 days of darkness. Go get water, go get food supplies, go get batteries and candles, But that's not what it is at all. That's why the 3 days of darkness has never come, and it never will. I mean, unless an EMP hits us, but the sun's still going to shine. That's the thing. The Bible is symbolic. Technically, like, all of the religions have a metaphorical story about how the first evil is created, and it's pretty accurate, in both, I believe, Islam and Christianity. It was because of pride, but the same thing is, in Islam, it would be that that he did not bow, he would not obey, and that to bow to the new creation, which would be humanity. So, and Jinn, see, beings of smokeless fire are energy beings, and that's what they say Jinn are, beings of smokeless fire. And so with Islam, they say the adversary, which would be basically the devil or Satan or whatever, opposing force, used to be a Jinn, rose up the ranks of the spiritual hierarchy and became an angel, went from a lower dimensional to a higher dimensional, went through the process. But then, because of this process, you kind of have a sense like, well, I worked for this. How can you tell me, it does. It gives you, I can understand the arrogance thing about it. And I thought about the story lots. But in the end, chose not to bow and chose to defy the divine creator's orders. And this, again, is in many stories is why it was cast out or cast down to earth. And I suppose in the material realm is the only place in the soul school where there would be any hope at all for the devil to learn anything. But even still, depending on how you look at it, if you know who created the Bible, which were the Kabbalists, okay, which is a mystic sect of Judaism. So it's not Judaism. It's like an offshoot, like I was talking about, like we mentioned earlier, where, there's an offshoot where, of like Muslim, where it deals more with the unseen realm and the supernatural. It's like a mystic Muslim type of religion, but I can't remember which one it is now either. But yeah, so you got to remember that over time there were books taken out of the Bible, and I think it was in 16 something or other. Reincarnation was taken out of the Bible, and it was done by a woman, actually. Yeah. So it's just the fact that people don't want to do any research. They're happy in the little bubble in which they live, and they have every right to stay there if they choose. It's up to them. You can't force them, So it's just not their time. Maybe on the next cycle, but not this one. We can always hope, I'm just going to let my grocery person know it's all too heavy for me to get home. Oh. Okay. Good thing I checked. I got some gravy. Okay. Good, she's almost done. Good thing I checked. I gotta keep an eye on. Whoops. There. Okay. Do 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 do. Well, the people that write the history and everything like that, they can write it the way that they want to, eh, Scott? So, I mean, they've erased totally complete parts of our history and rewrote it the way that they wanted, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Original sin, I would agree. The Muse, Quee, welcome. They say, I was just listening to a podcast with Mark Passio. I also like Mark. Where he said original sin was failure to differentiate between what is good and what is evil. Yeah. And not only differentiate between it, um, but to make a choice on where you stand on it, I suppose, right? For you, you know, it's a complicated thing, right? Because these are only things that we can decide for ourselves. But I would agree. I would agree, you know? Like that's why I said it's not like it's totally useless. I found, that what would Jesus do? Was that Murph? Yeah. Uh, that sentence, be helpful over time because it reminds you, what would the most kind, loving, um, divinely compassionate person do? That wasn't self-serving, that thought about others, all of that. And it does. It helps. I always thought of Jesus Christ as a teacher, you know? Not only that, but that was the greatest thing for me. Well, that's the thing, right? So, the Muse says, so one could think they are doing good, but are actually doing evil. Yeah, yeah, I guess so, right? Huh, don't know. Well, it's not the gun, right? It wouldn't be a gun that's evil, but the person that holds the gun and fires it and what they do with it, right? It can be used for defense or whatever, or, you know, but because I don't know. Especially if I was getting attacked by a bear, I'd want you to shoot it. So, hey, Drumans, how's it going? Did I not say hi to you? I can't remember. Welcome. Good to see you. I saw you before a little bit earlier, but if I didn't greet you, then I just did. Oh, man. I should have got some sweets. I didn't get any sweets. Am I still able to add something? Can I add something? Can I get some cinnamon buns? Can you get me some cinnamon buns, man? Can you get me some cinnamon buns? Please don't forget my cinnamon buns. I added cinnamon buns, gonna go tell ya. And I got cinnamon buns, please don't forget them. They'll give you a better tip. Well, even though you got a great tip. Oh. Meow. What? Ba-da-da-da-da. Cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns. Well, this is the thing. So it's not like I just sit at home all the time. I don't have a cell phone where I can go out and like do live streaming, or I would do that. I own a cell phone, but it's not logical for me to pay $90 for the internet and then pay for the cell phone. Like, I don't even have Wi Fi in here. I don't know how to set it up. Many people have tried to explain how, and I don't get it. I don't know. So that's the reason. No one calls me on my cell phone anyway. No one calls me on my house phone, which I have. So it doesn't make any sense for me to pay for the cell phone. And that's the reason why. And I know that it would make my channel more interesting and like people would be able to, see how pretty it is outside, or I could go to, sit by the lake or whatever. Cause like I don't give a shit if people are around. I don't care. Um, it will be a new experience, but whatever. I could. And I just don't have I know if you were my neighbor, Aligos, you would help me set it up and I'd be okay with you to do so. I trust you to do so. Um, it just sucks because I don't even have anybody to ask. Normally, I would always have a boyfriend throughout the years. So if I needed anything like that, I would get him to do it. Yeah. And like I said, there's just certain things that I've always just, you know, needed help with. Like I haven't put like all my shit on the walls because I'm no good at hammering the nails in the walls. So, almond nuts, yum. I really love cashews, but I couldn't justify. Like, I mean, it's kind of a bigger bag, but still, it's $20 for a bag of cashews, and I mean, it's big, and I can take handfuls and eat them, and they last for a little bit. Mm, I don't know. I kind of regret it because now I want cashews, but nope, I got cinnamon buns. So I was craving cinnamon buns. Uh, no. So my phone, like that, my home phone and internet comes to like $90. We have the most expensive internet and all that, cell phone, all of that in the world here. Okay, in Canada. So my internet and home phone, $90. It used to be 60. Then when I moved, I lost my plan that I had for all those years, which was like 64 6 or $67 a month. Um, and it jumped up. So I had to readjust with my phone, but I was able to pay the majority of it off a couple days ago. So I've taken care of that bill. Um, But then again, another $90 on the 10th or the 11th or something, I'll be charged again. So then the phone, to put the phone on, I have to pay $35 plus tax. So it comes to 39 something or other. That's almost $40. And it's not logical for me, especially when I don't use the cell phone. I don't have anybody to text. I don't have anybody to call, and no one texts or calls me. You see what I'm saying? So that's the issue with that. And I do realize that my streams would be more entertaining. And people probably think that I just sit in my home on my ass all the time, but I really don't. And that's why you don't see stuff from me out, is because that's why I don't even know how Instagram works. I don't understand. I remember Jenny tried to explain Snapchat to me. She sounded like a mental patient. I'm like, what do you mean? So you send a picture that you put words on that disappears later? That sounds like tomfoolery. I've sent you a message. Oh, it must have disappeared. Liar. You know what I mean? I did not understand Snapchat. What a stupid concept. Why don't you just pick up the phone and call them? Anyway, so I do want that, though. I think that would be nice. Again, I want to keep my location private, but I could go to places, and sit somewhere. It'd be cool to even just sit out in the balcony. I was thinking of recording a video that way, but I have to get a new computer because my computer's so full, I need more space, including Netflix. Oh, well, yeah, I do get Netflix. I do. I've been thinking about canceling it because really I could probably get any show for free online. But the thing is, sometimes I can't get the quality, or it won't play. The servers are full. The servers are full. Yeah, right. You just want me to pay a freaking premium, and I'm not gonna. So that's when I get fed up and I go back to Netflix. But that's the only one that I have, and I've got the cheapest option. It comes with ads and everything, so I should probably cancel it. I do like watching movies though, and they have a lot of like those fantasy Chinese movies that I like, and a lot of Korean TV shows that I like. So, and I wouldn't really know about them, I don't think, if it wasn't for that. We'll see. I know it's a stupid expense that I could save money on, so. Uh, I buy movies on iTunes. Oh, do you, Alley Ghost? Especially when you're on your phone, it's difficult to get movies, and a lot of people don't even have a laptop anymore. So, their phone is like their TV and everything. Oh, what you guys doing? Oh, Salem is sleeping. Ugh. Yeah, writing calligraphy letters. Like, I would have to practice my handwriting. I had a pen pal a few years ago. But I remember my wrist would hurt so much. We don't type anymore. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, they don't even have, they only have this phone, which I don't know how people watch anything on a phone anyway. I mean, ideally, and I have a different TV than this one. That's just my old TV that Bagheera loved to watch birds on, so I don't want to get rid of it. But I do have a flat screen TV that fits in there. Yeah. Don't use it, sit in my room, but I have one. I used to have an air conditioner too, and I didn't think it was going to fit into this window, so I generously gave it to this lady who turned out to be an asshole, just being nice to me so she'd get something free. I miss my air conditioner now. It's not too hot in here. It's 24 degrees Celsius outside, but it's just been a beautiful day and it's not hot in here. This is how I went outside so that I could get some sun on my very, very, very pale legs, you know? So, whatever. It was good though. It felt good to have like the sun on my skin and my body more than just like, my upper body. So I usually wear like a long skirt or whatever. Yeah, technology has definitely made us lazy, Shelly. It really has. That TV is vintage. It is, and it still works so good. The volume's great, the picture's great. It's a sturdy TV. Eventually, because I can't even lift it and move it off of there. It's too freaking heavy. There's no way. I cannot. Someone else put that there. I believe it was my friend Alan. He passed away, though. He's in heaven now. He lived in my building. We used to go to church together. I volunteered at the food bank with him once, but it didn't work out because the people that were going there were just too, like, this woman came in, she was all messed up on drugs. Her shoe was hanging off. She looked like she came out of a zombie horde. Like, she was literally like, coming in. I'm like, no, Alan, I can't do this. I got yelled at. This drunk man tried to rip my fingers off with the grocery bag. No, heck no. I that was not a good place for me. But I tried. I gave him my best. Yeah. I didn't throw a fit or anything, but like, yeah, like I had to tell that man, you're hurting me, stop. And then people came, ran over because he was yelling they were coming anyway, but like, because he was hurting me, my fingers were like red. There was like line around here because he was just like yanking the grocery bag and I couldn't get my hand out. Yeah. So, yeah, it is. Oh yeah, it's warm. It's very warm. 24 is quite a good temperature. Yeah. 24 Celsius is great. Oh, it's deadly in Arizona. You need air conditioning out there. I lived in Southern California, so I do know some serious heat. And some days it does get too hot. Like when it's like 27, like 29, then it gets a little bit difficult in here. But I always keep the fans going and the block out the light at peak times and close the windows, and I'm able to keep it bearably cool for us. Yeah. Woo, 104. Oh my goodness. I was just thinking about that today. Like in places in like California, Arizona, um, you will burn your feet going outside and walking on the asphalt. And even if it's like the beige colored, because even our driveway was that beige colored cement, like not black, because it's so friggin' hot that like it'll melt and then your shoes will melt to it. But you'll burn your feet. It's like walking on hot coals. Like you think you're doing the test of courage. You know what I mean? I remember it. It was like doing the ballerina leap to the grass. Oh, heck yeah. And then your grass sometimes is so damn dry that it's like stepping on needles. They have to water their lawns every night. That's why. It'll turn back into a desert. So all the sprinklers come on at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. But if they didn't, it would literally turn into the desert. So, but damn, it's hot. Yeah, it is hot out there. Whew. I loved it though. I mean, on the more bearable days, like winter there is more bearable than summer in California. Whew, and probably in Arizona too. It's much more bearable in the winter months, for the majority of people, I would assume. Because it definitely was for me. Like it was beautiful at Halloween, you know? Now, people that were native to these places probably found it more chilly. Like this is when you'll see the fall clothing come out, and I'm still in like shorts and a tank top. But yeah. Oh yeah, the desert's hot as heck. Oh, I mean, like, I liked the dry heat. Like sometimes when you're out in the evening, and like I said, it's not stupid hot, but it has a warm sweetness in the air. They have natural jasmine trees growing in certain places, and you can smell it in the air, especially where I lived, or like we're Ontario, California, and oh my God, what was that place? Pomona, and what was that other place that what's her name lived at? Riverside, something. I fucking can't remember, you guys. It was so long ago. But she lived in this really nice neighborhood, and in her backyard, like she had a beautiful backyard. And this was in San Bernardino County, not in Los Angeles County, so it's more south. But in her backyard, they had these beautiful jasmine trees there. And so with all this, it's nice. Like that really nice, beautiful, warm air is something that you don't forget. You don't forget that. And I have been out in the desert driving to Las Vegas. So we drove through the desert this way. And it's lovely. It really is. It's very beautiful. Where I stayed in Bullhead, Arizona, we were right on the Colorado River. And this lady's house had 3 stories. It was literally called Naja's Palace. It was my fiance's aunt and uncle's house. And they were right on the Colorado River, and they had a little dock and a boat thing. And as you looked over it from the 3rd floor where I was, it looked like the desert in Egypt. It was just unbelievably beautiful. And their whole house, they were Lebanese and Middle Eastern. So the whole house looked like Egypt. They even had big statues. They had money, okay? They had big statues that were painted black but had this gold like armor stuff on them. Holy shit, you guys! They had money, okay? Um, but it was such a beautiful experience. I had a balcony off my fucking bedroom, like Cinderella. Okay, so I got up, put the robe on, get a cup of tea, and sit on my personal balcony. Okay. Yes, I did. I had a lovely time there. It was great. It was wonderful. Yeah, that was the first time I ever tried lamb. She made lamb burgers, and you know what? They were fucking great. I know, it's terrible. I'm a baby animal eater. But you know what? I don't think I've had it since. I don't think so. But it's not something like, you know what I'm craving tonight? Lamb. No, fuck no. You know? So, blooming desert. Is that stinky flower that grows in the Amazon? There's a really stinky flower that grows, and it's big, and it looks like a fucking alien. Um, and it is ugly as heck. Well, I mean, it's kind of pretty, but because it stinks so bad, you're just like, ugh. But yeah, it smells like rotten flesh. And when it blossoms, and that's how it attracts insects, like a dead body, to carry its pollen off to other giant stink flowers. Yeah, Rafflesia. I don't know. Is that what it's called? I don't know. But they look like they come from an alien planet. They do. The only thing I don't like about these, they got this little part here. So if it's like against my leg, it leaves like a line. So that's not too comfortable. But I like them though. They are very comfortable, just not that part. Not that part. What you doing, Merv? What you doing, Merv? Hey, what you got there? What you got? Something off the tree? Hi, baby boy. Hi, Sam. Yeah, I love you. turn this down now. Oh, here it is. Oh, I remembered something. One of the things that it said about fairies is that they also blight cattle. But I didn't exactly look up what the freaking word blight means. I have a feeling it makes sickness. Sickness? Any numerous plant diseases. They blight? T-B-L-I-T-H-E? Blight? Is that the word? Lacking or showing a lack of due concern. Mary, carefree and lighthearted. Was that the freaking word? But anyway, after I read what I read, either it's blight or blight, it was an old word, but they were known to something cattle. It reminded me of the cattle mutilations. That's what it was. And different animal mutilations or whatever, but it could be these beings just eating in the unseen realm. I'm not going to show you pictures of that, but in this book, there's really strange, like, animals being found at the top of a light post. You see, over here or over here. Okay. And then just like with like some of Linda Howe's, like, the mother of the calf was found limping nearby with a broken leg. And it's like, it's just been stripped down to the bone. But I don't think it's technology or blah, 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 blah. I think that's these beings eating them. Probably like piranha. And there's lots of them, right? This fella is this guy's name is Jack Carey, but he used to be a CIA agent, but I don't believe that. He's a regular guest on Ancient Civilizations. I don't even know what that is. Oh, it's produced by Gaia. Oh. But anyway, once a CIA agent, always, though, right? It talks about this is what I was trying to say before. This pass where all of those people died. Look, see? There was the snowman picture taken by one of the hikers. It was one of the last pictures taken of something following them. There's the tent. See, I was talking about that too, and yeah. So, and sometimes humans are found in the same way the cows are found. If you didn't know that, oh shit, I gotta check my groceries. Is she here? Hold on. I got to get them to switch my buzzer to my home phone if I'm just not going to put my cell phone back on. I'd like to, but I just can't afford it. Here's Murdered by Human Wolves, although I just don't feel like the pictures he's used are legitimate in my opinion. But there's gravestones. Oh crap, I can't see. Oh, my shopper is almost here. Hold on, I gotta go see where she's at. Hold on. Oh no. Maybe not. Heading to you, delivered by. Okay. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it says murdered by human wolves on some old gravestones. See? Human wolves. So he's got some pictures of tracks and stuff like that. But, just going to see if there's anything. And it's just an interview with Robert Bigelow. But she says, Laura Logan, do you believe that UFOs have come to Earth? Robert Bigelow, there has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. But he doesn't say, yes, they have come to Earth. Yeah? He says, and I spent millions and millions and millions. I probably spent more than than an individual than anybody else in the United States has ever spent on the subject. But he doesn't say about aliens coming to Earth. Do you imagine that in our space travels we will encounter other forms of intelligent life? Robert Bigelow says you don't have to go anywhere. You can find it here, Laura asks. Where exactly? It's just like right under people's noses. He doesn't say that it's aliens from somewhere else. Right under shit. Oh, fuck it. Oh, whatever. I've lost my spot now. But yeah, it says it's right under people's noses. It's not aliens from somewhere else, and they know this, but it sells as aliens from somewhere else because most people hope. Oh, my groceries. Shit. Are you even here? Okay. Most people want there to be more than just humans because humans suck, right? For most of us. In some, our families don't work out, we can't get friends, and da 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 da. So other beings seem to be more appealing. Just one sec, I'll be right now. Where's Mervin? There's Mervin. Hi, baby. Okay, we're back to Mervin. I'm not babysitting. Oh, shit. I was just sending you a picture. No, that's okay. Thanks for coming in, so okay. Thank you. She was right there. Okay? She was right there. We scared each other. No, I'm still enjoying things. Here we go. Country road. Don't you be chewing my salad. Don't you be chewing my salad. Ow, I just kicked myself. Ow! Bud! Why would you fucking bite me like that, you little arsehole? Get away from my salad, man. You almost bite my fucking thumb right off. Ouch! You drew blood. I'm bleeding. Salad bit me. Salad bit me. Look it. That's why I yelled. He's such a savage. He wanted to bite the salad. Like, he just wants to chew the fucking plastic, and he just chomped me so hard. I'm bleeding. Why are you bleeding like that? Baba! Ouch, man. Oh, you eat so much, you don't need to be chewing plastic. Stop. I even got you your favorite kind of food and you bit me. It's pretty weird, like, oh, I fight scary things and then cry because the cat bit me. Yeah, but I didn't cry though. I just cried out, like, ah, because it hurt. Salted. Ready? Ooh, I'm gonna have a cinnamon bun. Ooh, I got some juice. You guys wanna see what I got? I'll show you my groceries. So, bananas, and this is a salad that Salem tried to bite. And I'll give you this. Here, I got strawberries, big fat red juicy berries, and I got Roma tomatoes. Oh, yeah. Cinnamon bun. And I got these little rices. Uncle Ben's rice. I like that. I got the Chinese fried rice style and then the garden vegetable one. I like those. It smells really good when you cook it too. And then I got a gravy. So I can have mashed potatoes. And then I got some juice. I got 2 juice. And I like these when I don't feel like making spaghetti or whatever. Then I can eat that. Nama, 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 nam. That's it in this bag. Oh, I got some plum sauce because I got egg rolls in the freezer. Vegetable egg rolls. Look at these big old fat strawberries. You got to wash them first. What are you doing up there, McMarv? Come here, baby. Give me this. That's salad, baby. That's just a salad. It's okay. I saved a mouse yesterday twice. And it was a baby mouse. And, well, I got quite emotional because I wanted to keep it. But I don't have anywhere to keep a mouse. And it was so cute. And it was just a baby and it trusted me. And I went and I put it in the flower pot outside with all the flowers, underneath the flowers though, because it was just a small little baby mouse. And so he laid out there and he slept for a few hours after the cats had attacked him. But I saved him. And then he came back after I got rid of him the first time. He came back. And so I put him out in the flower pot and he slept out there. And when I went to go back and get him, I put my hand in the flower basket and he just jumped into my hand. You know, I really wanted to keep the mouse, but I couldn't. And so I put him in the safety somewhere where else he was safe because I don't think he could jump out of the flower pot. He was just a baby. So, yeah. Oh my God. Salem is after the fucking salad again. Excuse me. I don't know why he likes plastic so much. Salem, you're such a biter. Why are you gonna bite all the groceries, Salem? You put holes in all my stuff, Salem. I love you. And then in my other bag, I just got cat food. And then I got a toothpaste. I use this toothpaste. See? You can get a double pack of toothpaste and it's cheaper than buying the one. So I like this toothpaste. And I got a melon. I got a melon. I got a melon. Ooh. Are you after my cinnamon buns? Cinnamon buns. Let's have a cinnamon bun. Cinnamon bun. Dun, 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 cinnamon bun. Ow! God damn it, Salem. It was like getting your friggin' blood checked with the little diabetes thing. Like, holy fuck, did you hear me scream? It hurt. Right on the bone. Just, ugh. Yeah. Sam Jenkins is a fighter. Chose to fight my thumb, like he's the mafia. Give me that thumb. There's that Mervin. Sorry about that. I'm still here. Sorry about that. I was trying to fix the oracle up in here. Oh, there's Marvin. Yeah. So I probably have like a mouse as a pet. I thought it was really cute. Oh, yeah. Right. We're back. Here I am. Oh, the oracle is my bong. Yeah. What happened in Russia? Mm. There's an Italian festival tomorrow, and I think I'd like to go just to do something. But like, if it costs $20 to get in, because whenever they have a friggin' festival around here, it's always like that. Well, Ribfest is free, but it costs a ridiculous amount of money to get the ribs, and you wait in line, and it's not even good. Pay so much money for it. Bong. The bong. Bong. G. Cat scratch disease. No, it's actually not from the claws. It's from the teeth. You can get the bacteria from the claws, but the teeth are more dangerous. I don't know. I actually got a cat scratch on my leg one day. Salem jumped off. I can't find where it scarred. It must have finally healed because I had like a scar from it. He cut me on my inner thigh, and because he got scared and ran off and cut me on my foot. And because I didn't wash it right away, like if you wash it with soap and water even, you're good. But I didn't wash it right away, and it got infected, and it was sore and red. I fought it off though, but yeah, it's because they have bacteria in their mouths, and like when they lick their paws and stuff, and then it gets on their pause, and yeah. Don't worry, I washed it. Well, yeah, but Salem bites, but he's not like a mean biter. He's just fat, and he tries to eat everything. And so he tried to chomp my salad, and you know, he fucking bit me. It made me bleed. Yeah. No, he's a nice boy. He's a nice boy. It's just like sometimes, or when I like go to dingle his belly, like blah, 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 like that, to grab a hold of me and freaking bite my goddamn knuckles too hard, and I'll be like, "Ah, let go!" He's just a big friggin' bear of a cat. Cinnabons. So I didn't end up going swimming, but I'm leading up to it. Like today, I actually went outside in shorts, and like I never wear shorts like this ever, ever. Especially outside. I'll wear them at home, but so yeah, and I got 3 pairs of shorts like this now. Okay, good night. Good night, Chili. Thanks for being here. See you next time. Have a good weekend. No, he's not. Salem's not possessed. He's probably mad at me because he wants turkey food. But they got to eat that one at least, and I'll give them turkey later. Yeah. No, I don't own a microwave. Yeah. I used to, but I'll never buy a microwave again. I've learned to live without one. Once you don't have it anymore, you learn to live without it. So now I heat my food up on the stove or in the oven. I had one, and it was nice, and it was clean, and it wasn't old. But unfortunately, my old building had bad management. I never had bugs, okay? I never had cockroaches or nothing, but it was a problem. My neighbor at the end of the hall on the other end had them for like a year, 2 years, like it was forever. Anyway, so there's a hole in my thumb for starters. Anyway, it stings a little. Um, when I was moving, right at that time, I was starting to see them come into my house through the drains and everything else, and it was a nightmare. So they had gotten into the microwave, and I threw out a lot of appliances that were in the kitchen. There was a perfectly good coffee maker. It's just that when they started coming in underneath the kitchen sink. And like my neighbor at the end of the hall was an older lady. She wasn't dirty or anything. It's just the building was overrun. You know, it's kind of embarrassing to even talk about, but it's the truth. And I was so stressed out, I'd be crying and vomiting in the toilet from stress, you know, because of the fucking bed bugs everywhere and the cockroaches and shit. There's a lot of bed bugs in here now, too. They had a whole hallway spray on July 2nd in the evening. from 8 until midnight. You couldn't go out of your apartment on the first floor. So um, we had that done, but I haven't had anything like that, you know. So that's what I did today too. I finished my house cleaning. Like I did a lot of vacuuming and stuff yesterday, and then I cleaned the bathroom today, and I mopped the floors. I just do the kitchen and the bathroom because those are the only two places where I can mop. I used to love mopping, actually. Loved it. I loved how nice and fresh and clean that the house smelled afterwards. But I use a Pet Fresh carpet uh, Arm and Hammer kind of sprinkle stuff for the front hallway to kind of give it a nice smell, but just in the front hallway. Yeah. And so it's nice in here and it's good. So I'm not worried about it. But yeah, the bed bugs are a problem in the town where I live. Have been for years now. Well, that's the thing. Allie goes, I sealed everything. I bought so much caulking, duct tape. I started to even plugging the sink. They were coming from, it's such an old building. They were coming from underneath the sink in holes where we could never get to. So I left at just the right time because what had happened is that my neighbor on this side of me had roaches. The neighbor on this side of me, my old building, had bed bugs and roaches. And so it was only a matter of time. It was like I was fighting a war on all sides. The girl across the hall had them. So it was a never ending nightmare. Like I was like steaming the carpets every day, cleaning, using the carpet. I would exhaust myself cleaning my house. I paid for my own pest person to come into my house. It was $169. He didn't find anything. He was the nicest fella too. I could tell he felt bad for me. He helped me look everywhere. And he's like, your house is one of the cleanest houses I've ever seen, he says. And he's like, no, I see no signs. He's like, you don't need to worry. And he felt bad charging me the money. I know he did. But he doesn't have a choice because that's his job, you know? You could tell he didn't want to, but he had to. Because they call and the job and whatever, and so he couldn't get out of it, you know? Like, it's how their company works. But I could tell. He was a really nice fella, though. He helped me a lot. Yeah, he helped me lift up the rugs and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was pretty bad, you know? Um, like even if there's a mosquito in the room at night, I can't sleep. It'll bother me. I'll try to wait for it to bite my face and then kill it, and then I'll be able to sleep, you know? Or bite my head or whatever. I'll be like hiding in the blanket. Yeah. But yeah, I love the place where I live now. I live in a beautiful area. I went for my walk today. Um, I Yeah, I went early in the morning. So I'll go in the morning sun. I learned from Santos Bonanchi that the morning sun is the most important, and that's why the Egyptians would stand out with their hands to the sun. It wasn't about worship, it's about absorbing just the morning sun rays, you know? I mean, however you can think of it, getting that morning sunlight's good. That's why the animals like to lay in the morning sunlight and all that too, right? So I go out in the morning sun before it gets too hot. And I really enjoy that. And I like to go on an extra long walk. I go through this really nice neighborhood. So, and there's lakes in the area and stuff like that. And I can do all my shopping. So where I live now, I do so much better. You know, like when I lived downtown, I saw a friggin' dead body on the road. And I know I shouldn't say it like that because that's a human being. Like somebody had overdosed and passed away literally on the side. Well, it wasn't like on the road, but like it was on the sidewalk in between these two buildings, but it wasn't a small alley. It's a wide alley for people to go back into this parking lot area thing. And yeah, he was gone. And his friend was trying to get him up. Come on, man, what's wrong? And the lady's like, no, I'm sorry, fella. He's passed. Like, he didn't, like, it was. it was terrible downtown, and some people's downtowns are even worse, you know. One time I was walking across the crosswalk where you press the lights downtown, and there was a poop the size of a pop can. I kid you not. And I wasn't the only one. It was right like they were crossing the crosswalk and they just dropped their pants and they had to go right there. That wasn't an animal, because I was with other people. I didn't know them. We were just all crossing together. And when we realized it, it was like in a group, we tried to figure out where the heck that came from. And someone said that people do drugs so much sometimes that they get constipated and it'll just come out in a big ball like that. Imagine how painful that is. So that's why they had to drop their pants right there in the middle of the crosswalk, because it was coming out then, I guess. But yeah, and it's beautiful out here. So every day I go out and I think about, how grateful I am that I woke up and I'm feeling better and that I'm not as sick as I was those couple days like last week. You know, I've been like putting off like smoking weed first thing in the morning, and I'll have like a glass of orange juice and I'll get ready and I'll go for my walk and stuff like that. Do healthier things to kind of start off my day in more of a routine. And I find that I do this, now that I've been doing this consistently, that I crave my walk. Like, no, I'm not going to be doing this. I'm not going to turn the computer on until I go for my walk. So it's making good progress, and I'm feeling all right where I am. I still don't have anybody to spend time with, and I'm alone all day every day. But it does help, at least getting out into nature and breathing the fresh air. And so there's a lot of fragrant trees, like with purple flowers, and some of them have white flowers, and it smells really nice. And I found a place where I can walk through where there's lupins. And so yeah, it's definitely a lot better now where I live. There's sometimes a person bumming outside at the weed shop, um, but that's or at the bank. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Scott. So, yeah, I'm trying to make an effort, like not only to get more exercise, but to just try to enjoy life more, like to make the best out of my circumstances, because this is all I can do, right? It would be really nice if I could find like minded individuals to hang out with, that I could form bonds with, and such, but it's weird because sometimes it's been so long that I find it difficult to talk to people a little bit, you know, or I'll get a bit tongue tied. You ever thought of recording the views? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? Loop Skywalker? I don't understand. You ever thought of recording the what views? Oh, yes. So we talked about that. Like when I go outside, I know. So I explained about my phone bill and everything, and how I do have a cell phone, but like it's a pay as you go plan. It's $40, and I've never done a live stream from my phone before. I thought about trying a few times, but then again, I'm kind of worried about giving away my location. Um, I know it would make the channel a lot more interesting if I could like take you places with me, I suppose, and kind of like talk about things, maybe even just go shopping or try on clothes or anything like that. I guess. Um, Not that I do those things, but even just I thought about bringing you like the channel with me on a live, like going for a walk or whatever. I suppose I could take you through the main big park and just kind of, you know, walk through. There's no sign that says where we are or anything because I can go past it where it is because it's at the other end. And well, you've seen that in my last minute Lacey video. That's where I was at that park when I've got my feet in the water there. So, but yeah, so I have thought of it. It's just not something that, I have as an option right now. I wish you weren't afraid of us. Oh, no, it's not that. It's just seriously like there's some really sick people out there. Like I just seen a video, I didn't watch it. But there was a fan of a YouTuber that was like video vlogging with them or vlogging while hunting down victims to exterminate. Yes. So that's the problem. Like, not everybody watches you because they like you. Some people watch you because they don't like you and they sit there seething and then they start to plan your murder, you know? And that's the thing. That's the risk of being online. And it can be just some reason that this person makes up in their head for why that I would need to die. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so there is sick people out there. And I just don't think that people realize how bad it is. Like, they told me that too, that evil hides inside human skin in this realm. And I believe that. That's why I was saying, like, I'm really not sure about the whole reptilian thing at this point, like shapeshifter people, because I think it may be just that we can't accept that human beings like us, can be that evil. Like I was saying about how a lot of people go towards aliens, because humans were so bad to them. Like in a lot of cases, that was for me. So I thought, oh God, there's got to be something else out there, somebody else out there, and they'll want me around. Like my own species, my own peoples, rather rejected me and pushed me out and like kind of outcasted me. Like, so, I just always felt very unwelcome and unwanted. So I thought, well, maybe there'll be others who will want me around and love and care for me and want to be my friend. You see what I'm saying? And I think that is the case for a lot of people, Yeah. I don't blame them, because a lot of people can be really shitty. And especially when it comes to these experiences, like, I forget who it was, but I was just having a conversation. I can see his picture and everything. He's a long, dark-haired fella. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. But I was just, hey, Time Watch, how's it going? I was just speaking with him the other day because it is isolating. Like, you hope that people will be better to you. Like, when I told Jenny about seeing the being in my room and the way that she reacted and treated me like I'm some kind of fucking numbskull, she just said, this is what you say when you love somebody. You don't say, oh, you just made up imaginary friends because you don't have any in real life and aliens aren't real. You say, well, I don't know what that was that you saw, but I promise I'll do everything I can to support you, and whatever you need to help figure out what that is or whatever, I'll be there for you. You know what I mean? We always hope that people will respond in this way, but it's just not in their world at that time. So there are a lot of fake people, if you watch, what's going on in with, like, I watch true crime cases sometimes, and there's a lot of that. People just find somebody on the internet and they're first a fan and then they turn into not. You see, what did I eat today? I know my arm looks real skinny. I have to get some more muscle. Remember, I only have this little teeny bit right there. That's me muscle. That's me muscle right there. So I have to get some more. When I was losing weight, I lost a lot of muscle. So if I look super skinny, that's why, because I have no muscles left. I also have a little bit of a jiggly leg because I need to work out my muscles. So I'm working on that. But what did I eat today? I had a burrito, and I had chips, and I had salsa, and I had 2 pieces of peanut butter toast early this morning at like 6 o'clock. So um, after my live is over, which is quite soon, um, I'll be eating again. Did I show you my feet? I have I I went and I have to get my toesies done because I get an ingrown toenail, and they're glowy, and I got a flower. So I brought my own nail polish and shit to the salon. I found a new place that does for a good price. The only reason why I do that is because I get those ingrown toenails now that I'm older. It never happened before. So if I don't get them taken care of properly by somebody who knows what they're doing, then I get really sore toenails. So my big toes were throbbing while I was sleeping or trying to go to sleep last night. And I was like, that's it. I have to go get my toes taken care of tomorrow so that they don't hurt. So, yeah. And it was a really nice experience. And it was a shop with a lady from India. Yeah. And her English was excellent. So we could actually have a conversation and talk, you know? It's not, I've talked about that before. It's not their fault. It's just with, people from like Vietnam or whatever like that. It's just, I don't blame them. English is hard. I can't speak any other language, but it just kind of makes it a little bit boring. Like you can't really talk to them, and it's, I don't know, you can't communicate properly. And to be honest, I just wasn't really impressed with the service. So remember I said that one time they filed my nails down too thin and all this other stuff. So that's why I don't do that anymore. I just do the toes because of the pain. Yeah. Yeah. So they put my foot in the foot bath and they clean them, they clean your toes, and they clip your nails and everything and get the dead skin off your foot and then give you a little bit of a foot massage and rub some lotion on there, and then they paint your toenails and all that. Yeah. And I brought my own nail polish today. And I just like doing that because then I know that nail polish is only on me. And yeah, so though that's my nail polish that I got. Yeah, it's cat eye. But yeah, I got the exact brand that they buy at the nail salons. It's not knockoff. I brought it there and she's like, wow. She's like, no, it is. It's the real thing. I'm like, I know. Because that's where everything is made. People don't realize that it doesn't matter. Like everything in some way is made in China. It seriously is. And so that's where the factories make that stuff, and then they sell it out. And so, I got each a nail polish for like $3. Not any more than $3. So she was surprised. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And I gave her some nail stickers too. She was really nice. We were going to use them, but they wouldn't have showed up. So we'll use them next time on a different kind of polish. It's really cool though. I got like a little nail thing, and I thought that the flower in the center of it was just a decoration, but it's actually a little magnet too. So you can make like these little flower designs. It's really cool. Your government is hiding advanced alien technology. My Canadian government? Marge Maple. Welcome, Marge. Your biosphere is in danger. Yeah. Well, I mean, they keep that technology to themselves for a multitude of reasons, but the main reason is because they think of us as lowly peasants and they don't want to give us anything like that. You know, they don't want us to live longer, so we would never have med beds. Not by them anyway. But they are hiding advanced technology that is alien to us, as in we forgot it. Yeah. I have a video coming out tomorrow, um, where I discuss a little bit surrounding the topic of like frequency and sound technology that we used to have, and that frequencies, vibration, and all that. Um, and it's this pretty interesting little story that I found. So that's premiering tomorrow at 11:30. It's only 16 minutes long, but if you want to come in and chit chat and listen to me read the story, um, I suppose I should have pre-read it before, and I had to do a couple takes, and then I got frustrated. So it's not that bad at all. Um, but this I could have like taken the time to write the story just a little bit better, like edit it better, because I stuttered at a few parts because it's just not written all that great. Um, but I enjoyed it anyway, and I hope you all will too. Under the ocean. Oh yeah, they have secret bases under the ocean, stuff like that. You know, um, there's subway like stations deep underground too, where they've got really 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 fast trains, like they have above ground in say like Japan and stuff like that. But these are like bullet trains, like with a fastness you've never seen. So in tunnels and stuff like that, which they use not just all for nefarious purposes, but you've seen some truckers make videos about that. Because there is some places where they will use them for transport trucks. Hi, Marvin and Salem. But yeah, I'm probably gonna make like, well, I mean, I guess I could, but it's already almost been 3 hours, and I'll just make like a probably a tomato and grilled cheese sandwich, and I don't know, maybe some salad or something. Yeah, with a little bowl of chips, crunchy chips. Um, yeah. Oh, Marlon, welcome. Yeah, under the ocean, there's probably a lot of stuff that they can hide from us. Again, we can't get there. We'd never find it. You know. Hmm. There might also. Are you? I am. I am going to eat. Oh well, yeah, 0 point. Well, that yeah. So in other words, from the aether. So what you're talking about, Marge, would be in other words, aether tech. I have papers that Nikola Tesla wrote in, I believe so. Anyway, it's called Ether Tech, and it's filed under Tesla. There's that you can look at. That will be in the area of what you're mentioning, but also Ning Li. Ning Li created anti gravity. They said that she was kidnapped and taken uh, back to China and all kinds of stuff. Hold on a second here. Let me see if I can bring up my history. But she wasn't. She actually went to go work for the private sector, and she passed away. Um, she passed away, and then, or she was hit by a car, got Alzheimer's from the brain damage she sustained. Her son ended up. It was. Hold on a second. I think I'm gonna have to open my other browser. All this crap is opening up from this person's garbage website. She was a Chinese American physicist who made breakthroughs in anti gravity research, only to vanish from the public life under mysterious circumstances. She didn't. She just went to work for the private sector. She did get a grant of 450K from the DoD. But then after she produced results, then they said, okay, now you cannot put your findings in the public, like in a public like sense anymore. You can't release them to public because this, I think I have to open my other browser. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to. I will go back to Instacart and do that lady's review. Oh yeah. There's so many. They pick the most clever people. So when some people go missing, they don't actually. They just go working for these things. And like her son said, he didn't realize that there was this big thing about his mom on the internet. He knew that people were interested in her, but he didn't know that it had gotten in such a conspiracy type of thing, that she was kidnapped by China and all this crazy stuff, because that's not true. Even though she was used to be so happy about sharing about her work, when she went to work for the private sector and she wasn't allowed to talk about it anymore, he said that she got quite weighed down and depressed by the fact that she did have to, keep things in secrecy when she was so excited about her work and what it could mean for humanity. Okay. So I'm trying to tell you all of this stuff so I can get on my other browser. See, regular Google will block things like this. So I only got bullshit results with no results. What are you talking about? I just checked all of Ning. Am I spelling her last name? Or am I spelling her name wrong? Is it not Ning? I thought it was. Ling. What the fuck is her name? Am I getting her name wrong? Oh, okay. Here we go. Why isn't it bringing up how it was for her? There's no conspiracy about it. I just must be, I must not be searching for it right. Anyway, that's where she went to work, and she passed away, I think, in 2023 or 2021. But there was a big conspiracy saying, that Li Ning, no, that's not right. What the hell? History. It's weird how it just changes like that. Oh, okay. The scientist who discovered anti-gravity, but there's more about it. It was updated. I'm glad that you were able to talk to her son. Yeah. Okay. Her son's name is George. Let's see here. Yeah. Anti-gravity scientist. This was June 30th, 2023. The internet's obsession with her so-called disappearance. So, as I waited for George Wang Yu to answer his phone, that's the son. In 1999, Li left UAH to start her own company, AC Gravity, and commercialize a device based on her theories. Her colleagues previously believed in her work as the chair of UAH's physics department. Okay, that's when she gets her grant to do the research. AC Gravity got a grant for $448,000, so almost 450. So after about 2002, but that's when she goes to work for the private sector. There were papers that I had. I'm trying to find that where it says what she does. Basically, it creates a sphere, almost like a shield around the craft. Oh, maybe it was Doctor. Why would I have no search results on Brave when I didn't delete the browsing data or anything? That's fucking annoying. Anyway, I'll have to find it. But it said about what her device does and how it works. It used to even have a wiki, and now it... Oh, okay, here it is. Ning Li was an American scientist known for her controversial anti-gravity research. In the 1990s, she worked as a research scientist at the Center for Space Plasma and Aeronomic Research, University of Alabama in Huntsville. In 1999, she left the university, and then she formed the company. Okay, hold on. Anything that we'll talked about today will be posted down below. There used to be papers about where you could read about her anti-gravity work. But anyway, do high-frequency gravitational waves explain... Yeah, high-frequency gravitational waves. Anyway, I'll find all of this stuff. Let me see. Does anyone have any information? Here we go. But yeah, it said about her paper and what it did. The machine, what it actually did. He has a Wikipedia page here. Russell Targ was involved. His research into ESP. Not surprised. Incredible. Okay. Sounds like her research was in quantum locking, which is not anti-gravity. So that's about Dr. Ning Li, but no, she wasn't murdered and the government didn't kidnap her, nothing like that. Okay, let me see here. Yes, the Germans did have some UFOs during World War II. That's also in my video with portals and stargates, but it's the one before that one. It's the dimensional beings. It's the longer one from the... Possibly they failed. No, DuckDuckGo sucks. It isn't even private anymore. It was bought out by Google, so it's not even a private search engine, DuckDuckGo. Invented 0 point free energy and have been terminated. Yeah, maybe. I think that if they find anything significant, though, that they normally do work for a private sector. If it isn't just the government, they could go work for like a company that's owned not Elon Musk but by somebody like Elon Musk, or what was it, probably Robert Bigelow probably has a company that we just read about, and so he probably hires people too. And you know our universe is multidimensional, I agree. Higher and lower dimensions, and probably to the side too. Yeah, but they did have some advanced technologies. Um, I have that in my pictures, the Hanabaru or Hanabubu or something. It's a UFO that well, not a UFO, but a whatever flying machine. But yeah, I mean, DuckDuckGo at one time used to be good. But like Scott says, DuckDuckGo is the same as WhatsApp to Facebook. I don't even know what WhatsApp is. I've never used it. Um, but you guys gonna come inside? Yeah, I was gonna make some supper. I'm hungry. I'm gonna get off the computer. You wanna watch a movie? Yeah, I love you. Well, everybody, let's see. You read about the Tibetan monks using horn instruments to gravitate rocks? Yes, I did. Tomorrow's video that's coming out actually has to do with that. It has to do with the sound frequency and vibration and stuff like that. Yeah. And so, yeah, I have. And I thought the way that it was presented in the movie The Fountain of Youth, it's a new one. Natalie Portman's in it. That was really, really cool. And I'm glad they showed us that, because that was probably most likely how they did it. Yeah, of course my kitty cat watches movies with me. Marvin will sit right there, and Salem will chill with me here and lay and watch a movie. Well, he's not watching it, I am, but they just hang out with me. Thanks, Marge. Yeah, it will be it'll be out tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Um, it's just a little one. Like I said, it's only 16 minutes long. But again, like, I mean, if I could go somewhere and prove to you that these things work, of course I'd like to do a hands-on experiment, but I can't do that. So I don't have the ability or the knowledge and expertise or the mathematics to do anything like that. But it would be fun. And I do know about the different hertzes, and the music was changed and all of that. And I do sometimes listen to frequency music. But yeah, so I talk about on my channel a lot, like the spiritual life. We have our material life in this waking body that we move around in and survive here in. And then we have our spiritual life where we do in spirit travels and stuff like that when we sleep. Have you seen The Fountain of Youth? The gal that played in The Mummy is in it. No, she's not. That's Natalie Portman. I just watched it the other night. You can get it for free on those streaming sites. Yeah, I watched it the other night. I do know the frequency, and I can hold that one. I really should do more meditation, but I'm working up to that. I'm trying to build up like the light in me. I think that, I've been pretty drained and down for some time And so, like climbing a staircase, we'll do little things. And so, I'm trying to improve my food intake and what I'm eating. And I've been trying to look for vegetarian options. I'm going to have to search around and find some type of like, I do like veggie burgers, but I want to get them in like a bulk. I don't care. I'll eat veggie burgers every night for dinner. Like I said, meat just isn't my favorite thing, but sometimes I just don't really know how to cook anything else, except for like meat, vegetables, and something else. I didn't really get that creative with my cooking skills, so I'm a good cook, but when it's just me and like I can't be bothered, well, there you have it. So, but I am trying to put more effort into me. You can squat, you can surf. Um, I can't surf. No, I can't surf. But then again, I've never tried. I've never tried. It looks fun. Yeah, I know. I know that. It's just that I've been having trouble eating, and um it's getting a lot better now, you know? But yeah, it's easier if I'm with groups of people. I'll eat more and my appetite gets better. So, but yeah, if you feel like watching a movie tonight, you should watch the movie. It's just new out. Um, and it's called The Fountain of Youth. And it's pretty good. Yeah. So there was a few kinds. I looked for veggie burgers when I was ordering my groceries, but I couldn't tell in the packages how many patties were in the package. So I can just go and buy them in person. So that I can tell how many's in there and like the weight of it and how, and divvy out how much money to spend, because there was these impossible burgers that were $20 a bag, but you get a big bag of patties. But then they didn't have any in stock, so because that's what I would have probably gotten. I don't really know. Like I when I was a vegetarian before, I had people cooking for me. I was in the group home, and I had friends who were vegetarians and stuff like that who I lived with, and so it just kind of worked out. And then after a while, I just couldn't do it myself, and I started getting sick because like I couldn't get all the proper nutrients, especially like protein and B vitamins and shit like that, and iron. Yeah. Yes, I know, Marge. Yes, I know. I know. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. I know all about it. It's just for me, sometimes it's easier said than done. I've expressed that a lot on the channel is that I've been alone since I was 17 years old in life. Probably a little felt more like longer because I was so, um, you know, pushed away from my family because of what I was going through, that they really didn't know about, or they tried to blame it all on my stepdad all the time. Anyway, so it wasn't that great, and I've been alone since then, and I don't have an easy time making bonds with others. And because things have gone so badly, I was re-victimized, I suppose, because I didn't know how to deal with life all that much, especially with people. Growing up the way that I did, it was kind of alien-like, I suppose. But yeah, so now I find myself alone day in and day out, unable to really like feel like I can open up and trust individuals that even do try to get into my life. Like, damn, I regret fucking that up. I just met a nice fella. It was like online, but it was a guy that I had liked and kind of admired for a little while, and he may have liked me back, but I just convinced myself that he didn't and fucked everything up and blah blah blah. And Too crazy for him, probably. So it doesn't matter. But so I sit here alone. When I'm with people, I eat a shit ton of food. But when I'm alone, sometimes it really. Yeah, I know. And if only I could just learn to cook better and all of that, you know? My mother never taught me how to cook. I had to learn everything myself. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I am alone. And I don't mean it offensively. Like, I watch movies alone, I eat alone, I go to sleep alone, I go for walks alone. My phones do not ring. Like, I always have to get new portable phones because, oh, it's on low battery already. Um, because I mess up the battery leaving on the charger all the time. I did, yeah. Oh, yeah, I can cook. I can cook. Um, it's just a lot of the time I don't have like the oomph and the motivation to do it. But I can. I even if I just make up my own little recipes and stuff like that, I do well, you know? But not like some people can. I'm not all that great at following a recipe, but I always make delicious food. Thanks. Yeah, I made Christmas chili. I remember it took me forever to chop up all the vegetables, but it was really, really, really good. Yeah, I make good food, but it's complicated. Like I would want to make different dishes. I see some people make stuff and I'm just amazed. I'm like, oh my God. I'm so impressed. So, did I make cake? No, I think I made cupcakes and I screwed them up. I didn't cook them long enough and they like got stuck to the muffin pan. I tried to make peanut butter cup muffins, kind of like big, thick cookie muffin. I don't know. I'm not good at baking either. um, I mean, I do okay, all right, but don't expect anything spectacular. But yeah, I always made do. My boyfriends were always like really happy and excited and always said my food was good. My boyfriend's friends, they weren't fucking around. They devoured that food. So, I don't know. Because I've learned how to cook things I thought I couldn't cook. Like, I learned how to make a really, really good Chinese stir fry. Like, you know how you get it from the Chinese restaurant? I can make a beef and broccoli. You wouldn't even know. It doesn't come from the Chinese restaurant. Yeah. Thanks very much, Marge. You know? Yeah. I mean, talking about this stuff and like, this is what makes me happy, about like the unseen realm and stuff like that. It really does. It makes me happy. And this is what I would love to do with my life. Like, I don't know. I know it seems like I'm always sitting on the living room floor, but um, it won't always be that way. And so, yeah. Well, thank you, Scott. Well, why? I don't know why. Maybe because, what do you mean? Because I screwed up? I don't know. I didn't bake them long enough. I had to bake the muffins like the peanut butter was like still gooey on the inside, but I thought like you had to like wait till it cooled. I don't freaking know. Anyway, it was a disaster and it took me forever to clean that dish. But I can make like blueberry muffins and stuff, but like I don't think I've ever made anything from scratch. It comes from a box. And I just pour it in, you add the eggs and the milk and the water or whatever, and then you fucking stir it up. Woo! Where's Marvin? Hi, Marvin. What are you doing leaving my flower, girl? What are you doing with my flower, girl? Hi, my baby. What you doing with my flower? Oh, oh, oh. That's naughty. Leave that alone. Hey. Hey. Oh, Marvin stole a flower. He took a flower off of my basket. They're fake, but they look cool, don't they? See, from far away. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. My little pink flower. Isn't that cute? I might actually glue that to the hat. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Last Minute Lacey with me, your host, Lacey. And I don't know. I'll see you around sometime soon. I try to schedule more live streams in advance and then try not to forget about them. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a wild rose. Yeah, it's cute, eh? Those are my little flowers off of Timu I got from my baskets outside. I didn't know Marvin was attacking them. But yeah, it was a good time. I'm glad we got to catch up and talk a little bit. Thank you very much, Luke Skywalker. I appreciate that. I really do, very much. Yeah. And I thank you all so much for being here. I'm hungry and I'm getting real tired. Thank you very much, Marge Maple. Thank you for your healing vibrations. I appreciate that. And thank you very much. And my kitty cats say thank you, and they'll see you again soon too. I didn't take a nap today, so I'll probably be in bed by 9. Have to be a little later now, so I have to eat and then go to bed, so 10. Oh, hey, Big Feel. That's okay, you can always just restart. Yeah, but that's okay. It's good to see you. You caught it at the tail end. You know, I've been saying goodbye for like 20 minutes, I think, so it's all good. But it was a good one. If you want to know what that book I was looking at, it's called Paranormal Planet by Jack Carey. I bought this years ago, though. These aren't new. But it's not for the faint-hearted. This one, it has a lot of animal mutilations in it. And there's also a cat, a kitty cat, which I skipped that part. But yeah, I think that's the. I don't know if that's the Patty Bigfoot, but there's some pictures. Kind of looks a little bit like Patty, but I don't know. It just depends, but it's all right. I think people would enjoy the book. Oh, there's the Antarctica. Well, there's pyramids in Antarctica. We've all seen that before, haven't you? Under the ice. So, the chapter 8 is the Antarctica Enigma. He mentions Cliff High. That's funny. But yeah. Oh. These pre-Adamite people are the Atlanteans of historical lore, and many bodies have been discovered inside the ruins, which are 10 to 12 feet in height and possess elongated skulls. The power elite have been prepping our society to accept such news and have made efforts recently to begin disclosure through the release of various articles in the mainstream media. Huh. Dark Pyramid. Black Pyramid was discovered in Alaska, late 1950s, the depth of 700 feet below the surface. That sounds like the movie they made with the Predator and the aliens and the ice pyramid underneath the ice. Remember that one? They drill that big tunnel and they go down into that temple down there under the ice. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, take care, everybody. It was good to see you. There's Marvin at the window. Hi, Marv. Oh. Here's Marv. Okay, Marv says bye. Salem says bye. I appreciate y'all being here. You're welcome. I appreciate you all being here. Thanks, Holly Ghost. I'll try to schedule another live stream as soon as I can, and watch out for my video that's coming out tomorrow. And we'll probably speak again soon. Like I said, I'm going to schedule these ahead of time and then try not to forget about them. So, okay. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. I'm not going to forget to say good night in the chat before I go. Bye-byes. Good right. Yeah, okay. Terrible spelling. Okay. Bye. See you next time.